Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Bookmark. My name is Kayla, and today we're going to be doing a book review on Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McKeeston. I hope I said that right. But yes, we're going to be doing a book review on this book. I've been posting about it on our Instagram. It was on my current read. You can see now what Michael and I's current reads are in the Instagram bio on our Instagram page. But yeah, I read through this book quite fast. It's pretty good. I mean, it's kind of out of my element. It was mostly recommended to me by my friends, mostly because I don't read a lot of contemporary romance, but a lot of contemporary romance books have been all over Book Talk, Instagram, BookTube, everything book related on social media. So they highly recommended this book for me, and they were like, you should read it even though you're not into that, but they kind of felt like I might have liked it. But I will say that I actually did really like this book. It kind of surprised me the way that it came up, like the storyline comes about, mostly because it isn't a lot like other contemporary romance novels that end up falling into what like some people here on BookTube like to call insta-love, which is like the characters fall in love within like 2-3 days of meeting them, and then they have this whole inner monologue like, I don't fall in love easily, or I don't fall in love with that person easily. It's like, maybe you do. But yeah, that's not what happens here. So if you're not familiar about the premise of Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I'm not sure how you don't know at this point, but if you don't, the book actually is a enemies to lovers type of situation. And it is between the two guys here on the book cover. So this is supposed to be depicting, oh my gosh, I can't speak, Alex. He is the first son of the United States. His mom is actually the first female president, which I thought was a really cool thing to see in this book as well, is that we got to see like a female president. And it does talk about like how he feels about his identity as well. So there's some like other elements that make this story a little bit deeper, a little bit more interesting than what I've kind of read in the past. The author does kind of take a little bit like creative freedoms. What I will say is kind of like when the author wrote it, it was 2019, I believe. I'm not too sure the exact month, but it was in 2019 that the book was released. And it talks about the events take place in 2020, and there's no mention of the pandemic. It talks about like the 2020 presidential election, and it almost makes it seem like as if Alex's mom was elected in 2016 as the president, because she is currently the president and she's going into her second term in the 2020 election. So that is, or she's running for her second term in the 2020 election. There you go. So that is kind of the time and place of this book. So it is more modern. We're not getting like a blast in the past type of thing. I will say that you know, I kind of have this rule when I'm reading books. I typically give it the first 50 pages, and if I still can't really love the book, or I can't like, I'm at that point where I'm still forcing myself to like the book, I stop reading. And I will say that this book was on the edge of those 50 pages. It was getting very, very close to 50 pages, and I still was not really liking the book. But around that 50-page mark, the book starts getting a little bit better, like especially the storyline between the two main characters. That starts to become like a little bit better, mostly because Alex is like inseparable the first two chapters or so. He is extremely mean to Henry, like the entire time. And I don't really think that there is like a really good reason for it. There's not really a good reason. And a lot of his reasoning is like, he's like very self-absorbed and he wants all the attention to himself, which is obviously, when you get to know the character, is a facade that he puts on because he's the first son and he feels like he has to maintain a certain image, which that should tell you about the character in and of itself. But I will say that he does go through a pretty good character development throughout the book. I will say that it is that the time that Henry and Alex are like developing their relationship, it happens over the course of several months. So if you're the type of person that when you read contemporary romance, your main critique is that it's like too insta love, like they meet each other for a weekend or for a week and then it's like they automatically just love each other. If that's like your biggest drawback from reading like that type of genre, then I would say that this book is different in that aspect. It does take quite a while for them to develop feelings and then for those to be expressed to people around the world, especially because Henry is he is a prince. He's a Prince of Wales, and he, like his brother, he has an older brother who is the next in line, but he at the moment is the next in line after his brother, so there is a real possibility of him becoming the King of England, which that's why this is kind of a big deal, as it talks about a lot of like homophobia. That's another thing. If topics about homophobia are kind of not your cup of tea, or if you want to kind of stray away from that because it really triggers you and you get really riled up about it, you might want to refrain from this book because it does talk a lot about that. But I do think that it talks about it in a really good way, that like it makes you kind of think about why like world leaders can't be gay or they can't be anything other than heterosexual. So kind of just challenge a few things about like old ways of thinking and like how families. Also another thing is that it challenges what's considered a family and what is considered like a family unit, and I think that's really cool about this. But yeah, I'm gonna say that when I rated this book, so I always give like so many stars. It's like typically 5 stars is the best. I do give this book 4 stars only because of that like beginning part of Alex just being like an insufferable character, and I could not like him. And the book is mostly told from the point of view, it's third person, but it is mostly told from like the point of view of Alex. So it was really hard for me to be like, do I really want to like champion this kid? Do I really want to like be his like I'm really rooting for him? And that was kind of hard to do at the beginning. But I will say if you can stick with it through after the first 50 pages, then you'll absolutely love this book, and eventually at the very end you'll start to love Alex too, as well as Henry and all the other characters that are involved in this story. But yeah, I definitely recommend picking this book up. You can also, there's probably like a ton of people that have put this up online, so you can either find it through Barnes & Noble or you can find it like a friend's copy. That works too. Probably several libraries might have this already, but because it does talk about a homosexual relationship, I'm not too sure how many libraries would actually have this book considering on where you live. So take that into mind, but it is readily accessible at a lot of different places because of how popular the book has become on social media. But I do recommend going ahead and reading it, especially for people who don't really like contemporary romance, because I did like it. But yeah, that is our book review for today. If y'all want to have a more spoilish book review, let us know down in the comments below or on our Instagram page. Bye everyone!